Do 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 do. Penis. Short. Let's go huge. What? Evening. Bullseye. How's it going? Evening. How's your trip in China going? Thank you for popping by all the way from that fucking country. Commies. I just woke up at 7 a.m. for me. Bullseye, how's it going, man? Harsh, how's it going, buddy? I just woke up at 7 a.m. Wait, China's 12 hours ahead of me? Jesus. You know what I'm gonna say, Harsh? Or Harsh, fuck me. You know what I'm gonna say, Evening? Listen, this might be a little controversial, I'll say it, okay? If China's 12 hours ahead of New York, I think it's kind of shitty they didn't warn us about 9/11, okay? I feel like a heads up would have been nice, okay? I'll say it. I'll be the bad guy. 5.5. Very eventful, but I've also been sick for the last 2 days. Today I'm good. That's good to hear. Well, sorry that you were sick. Good to hear that you're better. Sorry. MX, how's it going, buddy? I know when Quantum wakes up for work. Like VIPs because representing our uni, so it's so nice. Ah, nice. That's good shit. Oh, you went for your uni? Like, is it like basically an exchange program then? Sorry, I thought you were just going for a trip. I don't know you went for your uni. I'm getting food, keep stalling. Okay, don't. Why you gotta go start off with Unk right off the bat, Tommy? Fucking Christ. Leonard, how's it going, man? Yeah, it's a cultural exchange. Ah, I see, okay. I didn't forsake it, bro. I was at a wedding. I was at a wedding. Kami, Uth, I was at a wedding. Uth, you say it's fuck you money? Right? I sit here in fucking live chat. Even now, I know you're not showing up for stream, but I still sit in fucking live chat for you so that I can read your messages right away, okay? Don't fucking... I was at all the events, guys. Literally, I left my house. So Wednesday night, I came... what was it? Wednesday, I was off for work. So I came back hella fucking late. Thursday, the party started at 7 p.m. I just slept there because I was so wasted. I was like, I'm not driving home. It's just fucking whack. I worked out of my... This is how fucking cooked this worked. I worked out of my hotel room on Friday. Spent the whole day there for the event. Saturday was the wedding. I got home Saturday night. Yeah. Sunday, I was just drained. Dude, I had slept about 3 hours a night for those 3 nights in a row. I had slept so little. I was so wiped yesterday. Like, I can't even... I was just in bed all fucking day. I was just like, I'm not... Like, I'm sorry. Listen, I get it. I'm sorry I left you guys for like 4 days. Listen, that's on me. I didn't anticipate that was going to happen. I really thought, like, okay, listen. With Thursday, I'm not going to stream. I told you guys. And I was like, okay, Friday. The thing is, like, it's in the morning. So then I can just, like, come home in the afternoon. Or I'll just be here in the afternoon. And I can just be fine. Saturday, the thing ends at like 6 p.m. So then I can come home at like 8-ish. Maybe skip Saturday. Sunday I can stream. It was so... Because the problem was, it was not only that I was at the wedding, but I was helping out with a whole bunch of shit, right? It was like, hey, can you, like, for example, Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. It was like, hey, can you go get can you go take my car to go get it, like, professionally detailed and all this shit? Because, like, that's like that's the car they're gonna be taking like out of the wedding or whatever, or however the fuck that works. And then she was like, can you go get a detail? It's like, okay, that's like fucking 2 hours. I'm walking around, I give my brother's friend's car to a random lady who's fucking, I just got her address. I don't even know this lady's name. I just go, I'm like, am I you? And she goes, yeah. I go, great, here's the car keys. I just gave her I don't know who this lady is. They just said they just said, yeah, go there. I was like, okay. Give her the car keys. Now, I don't have a fucking car because I just gave it to her. So I'm like, and I'm at this lady's house, right? So I'm like, okay, is there like anything to do around here? She goes, sweetie, we just live in like a suburban area. There's just houses. I was like, oh, fuck me. Okay. So she was like, well, she was sweet. She was like, hey, but like, I know there's nothing to do around here, but like, if you want to go inside and just wait, that's fine. Like, I don't mind having you. And I was like, no, I'm not going to sit in this random lady's fucking living room for 2 hours. That's inconvenient for them. That's super weird for fucking me. I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, okay. I was like, it's fine. I'll just go for a walk. I walked around for 2 hours. In a random fucking neighborhood. Someone should have called the cops on me. Like, bro, this guy's casing my house. You guys are out here like I'm just having fun and just ignoring you guys. Bro, I was in the trenches, okay? Don't... Why would they do that when you look at it? Smolt? Is this a word? Ah, fuck. Like, genuinely, I don't know, bro. You ignore my message, no stream, even after you asked what the message? Bro, ooh, your message was like, why are you playing a game right now? This implies that you're back home. I was like, bro, yes, I'm back home. No, I'm not streaming. I'm so tired. Like, come on. It wasn't like you asked me like, hey, buddy, I know it's been a couple of days. When are you streaming? That would be one thing. You were like, yo, I see you're online gaming, like you're my mom. You're like, yo, why are you online right now? You said you were tired, motherfucker. If you're tired, go to bed. If you're playing a game, stream. I'm like, fuck, man, no. Come on. Bullseye, shut your mouth. You're gonna give some stuff away. Delete your message. How dare you? Okay, does anyone have any idea what this is? Scott? Okay. This doesn't make any sense. Sorted it online. Hardly a word. Doubt it. Gotta go. Scout? No, but then the... Oh, maybe? Oh, shit. Nice. Alright, bye, evening. Appreciate you popping by. Enjoy your trip. I did not... What do you mean successfully? I just told you the truth. I was in VC with Ramiro for like a half hour. We were doing something important. I can't give anything else away. Bullseye's a fucking bum. And end's already been crossed out. So, shout? No. Scoot? That's not a word, right? Suhit locomotive station? I don't know. Even some banter? Oh, come on. This is banter. Come on. Help me out. What is this fucking word? Stout. It's so obvious. I'm so dumb. Question. Examine. Figure or something? Kisser, drawer, peckish, Tom, bussin. I don't know what does Figaro mean? Okay, so sorry, enough about me. What how about you guys? How was your weekend? You gonna watch the Odyssey? Fuck yeah. Oh, grill, nice. Figaro. Fuck. Went away though. Huge. Peckish. Oh yeah, I love Christopher Nolan movies. I know some people dislike them because they think they're too, like, I don't know, what's the right word? They think they're too, like, self-aggrandizing, I guess. I don't know. That's probably not the right way to phrase it, but I think you know what I mean. Like they take themselves too seriously or whatever. But like, I enjoy them. I loved Interstellar. I loved Oppenheimer. That was such a good movie. I like Tenet. Weekend was alright. That's good to hear. Good to hear, buddy. Like the Tenet. I like the Batman trilogy. Wasn't the best, but it was good. I did get one cool thing from the wedding though. Hiya! Am I ever gonna keep this? No, I'm gonna lose it very quickly, but for the day it's nice. Henry Kissinger? I don't know. What is this? I don't know, bro. Let's move on. The Dark Knight was mid? Are you asking me or telling me? Because I like The Dark Knight. What are you talking about? It was gonna happen eventually! Alright, that's it. We're never playing this again. We can't top this. We can't top this. It's over. This is it. We're never playing this again. This is done. Goodbye. Oh, so close.
Never felt like I never felt like baby, still with me.
White to move. Push to the edge here.
You gotta tell now. I never felt like
oh, this is protected by this. Oh, very cute. Very cute. Can't go here. Very nice. Dun, 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 dun.
You gotta tell now.
Miserable.
Never knew I'd be in this will last forever. Baby, stay with me.
Do, do, do,
You gotta say no, you
do, 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 do.
never feel like so different now. It doesn't seem like we've been far apart. So you
Anyone else like watching Nat Geo Wild? Oh, no, I used to like watching that stuff when I was younger, mainly because we had like cable TV, and we don't really have cable TV anymore. And I'm brain rotted as fuck, so that wouldn't occupy my brain long enough, you know? Excited for Dune 3? You know, I have not seen any of the Dune movies. I've not read the books either, but I've not seen any of the movies. I know they're very, very popular, I just haven't seen them. Okay, here's the thing, Harsh. I will do an Outer Wilds stream eventually. I just will never talk about it again. Because every time Nagito asks me every day about it, and occasionally I'll be like, okay, listen, like I'll try to do one like in a couple of days or whatever. And then if I, when I don't get to it at this point, because it's honestly, it's been skipping a couple of them, I'm not going to lie to you. You'll be like, wow, you're just fucking lying to us nowadays, eh? Okay, I don't even give a fuck about, bro, just quit the game if you, and I'm like, bro, just, I'll get to it. I have Uth on my ass for not finishing Koi fast enough. I have Nagito on my ass for not streaming Outer Wilds enough. I have my own ass on the line because I keep reading this fuck-ass novel with 0 fucking views, and I keep destroying my fucking YouTube channel because I'm an idiot who continues to read this piece of shit on stream. It's a fucking I'm genuinely, like, if you've seen JJK, this is literally the 3-way domain expansion. Everyone's doing their domain expansion on my ass. It's me. I'm getting rickrolled here. God, I fucking... Sorry, I just needed to get some frustration out. I apologize. Like, genuinely, just take my soul at this point. I don't have anything else to offer you, God. Fuck! What's my favorite movie? Okay, this is gonna be kind of a weeb answer. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna make me have to be a fucking weeaboo, and I don't want it to be, but it is my favorite movie, so I'm not, like, I'll eat it, okay? The answer is A Silent Voice. I love that movie. I love that movie. Call me a weeaboo, call me whatever you want, I don't care. Okay, so this is mate here if I don't do something right now. Okay, don't, wait. Oh, who's being mean now, Uth? Okay. Wow. This motherfucker said, bro, we can't call you a weeaboo. You made yourself one. I see how it is. Okay. Wow. Out come the knives, eh? Okay, I see how it is. Touché. Touché, good friend. Okay, let me lock in here. Here. No, that doesn't work. Take the queen! Take the queen! I thought about this too! I like it. I just like books more now. What books? To be clear. To be clear. To be clear. The Lord of the Mysteries does not count as a book. Okay, it's a web novel. This is. One of my first animes was Erased and I loved it. Oh, dude. Dude, no. You could watch Erased. Erased totally holds up. Listen, is it a little slightly predatory? A little bit? A little bit? But just very vaguely, okay? If you want to get really pedantic about it, I feel like that's the case, okay? Honestly, I feel like you. That's a great anime. No. You could happily rewatch it. I'll be honest with you. I have only ever seen a silent voice once. I've never been able to bring myself to watch it because I'm like, it can't possibly match up to the like expectation I have in my head. I hear you. No argument here. What do you have to do with anime anymore? You just read here? No, Uth, I can't. No. I'm gonna go back to. I want to make videos about anime. I want to make videos about the Lord of the Mysteries Donghua. I want to make videos about ORV when it comes. I'm gonna make. No. This is not my identity. I will not let this. I will not myself get stuck here. I refuse. Damn it. I won't do it. I will not. I will be better. We must be better than this, Uth. I must be more than this. Read the manga, it fleshes out the character more? Ah, cool. I have not read the manga for Erased. Alright, let's start reading. 9. Okay, let's get to 1,000 before the end of this, before the weekend. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. Let's go. At this point, this should be really doable because we'll get to like 970 when we need to do. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're talking about me. Oh. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna turn off my camera for a quick second. Hold on. Fuck, where's my fucking camera, bro? Am I dumb? Oh, here it is. Hold on. I got it the Christmas of the year that I watched the movie for the first time. I had it. You think I have it and I haven't read it, MX? What are you talking about? Oh, you're breaking my heart, buddy. You're breaking your old man's heart. The music is peak. Hold on. No, it's okay. Get out of here. It's whatever your reasons are. I'm sure they're well founded. I'm just fucking with you. Go on. Lumin had seen in the information provided by the major arcana holders that the original character for the police chief Yagates should be Madame Magician's teacher, the Grand Duke of the Tudor Empire, Mr. Door. Holy shit, that is peak as fuck. Within this introduction, there was a key conjecture, suspected to be the dream symbol of the uniqueness of the apprentice pathway. Similarly, the major arcana holder speculated the active Amon in the dream was a symbolism of the uniqueness of the Marauder pathway, but often also the original body, because Amon was once the true god of the Marauder pathway, occupying the uniqueness for over 1,000 years, leaving a strong imprint on the corresponding uniqueness. It could even be said that for a long time before, he was equivalent to the uniqueness of the pathway itself. I love how they said, Amon is such a marauder. He is that. He is the embodiment of that pathway, because the uniqueness is literally just like a physical embodiment of the pathway, right? And it's like Amon is the physical embodiment of Marauder. I'll say it, bro. Listen, and you guys say, can you guys see why I said he might be kind of better at the Marauder pathway than the fucking Celestial Worthy himself? It's kind of crazy. Therefore, before Amon's spiritual imprint on the pathway was completely worn away, Amon had a very close connection with this uniqueness. He could use this to freely enter and exit this dream city. Even if discovered by the Celestial Worthy, he could re-enter without limit. The uniqueness of the major arcana holder's pathway was part of this true dream, equivalent to Amon also being part of it. If the Celestial Worthy wanted to prevent Amon from re-entering, or to impose comprehensive restrictions, he couldn't do anything. According to the major arcana's speculation, there were only 3 ways. First, remove the uniqueness of that pathway by separating it. Second, wear away Amon's spiritual imprint. Or third, reach an agreement with Mr. Fool to jointly reject him. None of these were really feasible. The seemingly most feasible second method had a prerequisite that the Celestial Worthy had a great advantage in the dream. Almost half awakened, otherwise in a sleeping state in a fierce opposition with Mr. Fool. Even as a great existence, it was impossible to wear away Amon's spiritual imprint so quickly. Of course, Amon would still be restricted in the Dream City. As for what kind of restrictions, no one really knew. Similarly, Mr. Door's imprint also remained on the uniqueness of the Apprentice pathway. Although the uniqueness of the Apprentice pathway had been accommodated by Amon once, making him a dual pathway true god, Amon stayed at this level very shortly, unable to wear away Mr. Door's imprint. As soon as Lumion withdrew his body, he immediately disappeared from the spot, traversing to another mirror, leaving only a few black flames quietly falling. This was the symbol of the uniqueness of the Door pathway, certainly having some control over the mirror world. Staying behind the current mirror would inevitably lead to exposure. In a second or two, Lumion transferred to the second target, the dream uniqueness of the Apprentice pathway's Ya Gates. The dream manifestation of the Marauder pathway is Amon. Is the dream manifestation of the Seer pathway Zhou Mengrui also the core that Mr. Fool and Celestial Worthy are fighting over? He patiently waited outside, waiting and making sure no one was tracking him before approaching the glass mirror to peek outside. Outside was Officer Deng's office. Lumion took out a tip-off letter, making it float to the surface. The letter then flew out of the mirror, falling to the officer's desk. As it touched the desk, a streak of black flames extended from the mirror, quickly burning towards it. The black flames enveloped the letter, burning away the residual traces of the spider silk. Lumion changed his position again, traversing to the third mirror. Outside was an office belonging to another police officer, William Wang. A very powerful officer, corresponding to the real-time figure of the former King of Lone, William Augustus VI. The major arcana holders were a bit confused. Mr. Fool's incarnation walking in the world had no interaction with the William Augustus. So why did this deceased king have a corresponding manifestation in the city? Is this the Augustus that we killed, or is this a different one? They could only assume that Mr. Fool had very many ancient incarnations. Perhaps because the police were in a meeting or on mission, William's office was also empty. Lumion placed a tip-off letter and then randomly went to a random other office and dropped off the letter. The one on the money bills? You're telling me it has such a huge impact on him, the money, that he's like, yeah, that his consciousness made him up too? Like, bro, he's so important. And then he returned to the dream store, coming from the mirror corresponding to Eridas. Can I borrow a pen and paper again? Lumion walked over to the cashier and asked. The shopkeeper pulled out a pen and paper. Lumen began to write a letter to the major arcana holders. Firstly, to remind them to pay attention to Roseanne in reality and provide protection. Second, to ask them to confirm Anderson's real situation. And third, report the lie of Lee KG being arrested. After mailing the letter and thanking the lady, Lumen returned to the sedan. Anthony and Ludwig had already returned. Before Anthony started the car, Lumen briefly explained the situation of Stiano. Anthony remained silent for a moment, then started the car and sighed. Even gods were once weak. Even gods went through stages like us. This truly is the path of the divine, making us feel that gods are no longer so unattainable, no longer naturally noble, no longer naturally gods. Detachment? Lumen asked, using a newly learned term. But they are indeed fighting against evil, protecting the people. I remember that in the industrial cities along the West Mid-Seashire coast, their robed clergymen would regularly go to factories to hold ceremonies. Now it seems more like packaging major arcana hold, major factory inspections, formal use of new machines, clergy getting close to frontline machines, and other things into sacred rituals. Anthony rambled on and on about religious stories he had heard as a child and the religious ceremonies he had experienced growing up. The Sean Garden. Lu Shan was very happy to find that Franca had returned to normal. What did it feel like at the time, she asked. I couldn't breathe. Like a fish being pulled out of water. A person being kicked out of this world. You need to be more careful, Jenna said. The minions of the evil forces are also trying to get close to Zhou and the people, and deal with people who have directly or indirectly helped Zhou. We're worried they may target you. I've already turned my room to a fortress. They will guard me when I sleep. Lushan pointed to a new oil painting. Franca and Jenna looked at the direction Lushan was pointing, and saw a colorful parrot painting. Around the parrot were abstract modeled colored bricks, or colored blocks. Its eyes deliberately turned when Franca and the others looked, as if saying, "Hi, I'm alive." After looking for a while, Jenna nodded. A painter's ability is quite magical, eh? However, if you trust us, we can provide the ultimate safety. How? Give us a small amount of blood and hair. We'll make a mirror substitute for you. The straight line distance between our two rooms barely qualifies within the range, and we can bring us closer to the shaman space to ensure safety. But this also means that we can easily curse you and kill you. We can try. If you really wanted to kill me, you've had many chances to do so, I suppose. Close to midnight, Lushan, who had already washed up, checked the doors, mirrors, windows, and other paintings before lying down and turning off the lights. Lushan fell asleep and continued to guard that semi-transparent barrier. As time ticked by, in the parrot oil painting, those mottled color blocks began to squirm. The parrot noticed this change and was about to cry out, but was surged over by colored blocks, covering its mouth. Soon it was submerged and dissolved by these blocks. These blocks flowed out of the painting like water, leaving the canvas empty, surging towards the bedroom in the empty night, passing through door cracks, coming to Lushan's bedside. Suddenly, this water flow composed of colored bricks surged up, like taking a human form. The colorful human form sat quietly looked at the sleeping Lushan for 20 or 30 seconds. Finally, it turned back into a water flow composed of blocks, returning along its original path to the oil painting. The color block squirmed, reconstructing the colorful parrot. The parrot was identical to before. The next morning, Lushan woke up. She picked up her phone to check her messages. No problem, she sighed. Damn. R.I.P. Parrot, gone too soon, for real, for real. After parting with Franca and Lushan, Jenna went out to observe those dream characters who were close to Zhou. This was her and Anthony's recent task. Of course, she had already submitted her profile to the Hall Family Film Company, and today she or Anthony would go to contact Peng Deng, a very special character. Who do we think Peng Deng is? Are we feeling him just being Zhou Mingrui? Or sorry, him just being Gearman Sparrow? Is that crazy? Is that a little crazy? Or is it the Celestial Worthy? Or is it Adam? Think about it, his friend, but they can never meet in the nighttime when Celestial Worthy is strong? Is Adam our friend? No, he's an evil bitch. No, it's close. There's a chance that it's Adam. 70-30. Good odds. Good odds. I'd take those odds. So, by the way, okay, weird question, out of the blue. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the light long hair? Good lord, fuck me. I can't talk. Or do you guys like the... I know it's been a while since I've had short hair, but way back when. Fucking 8 months ago. Jesus, fuck. Across the building, from where Peng Deng worked, Jenna walked up to the grey sedan and watched the door open and Ludwig got out. She nodded to Anthony in the driver's seat, then led Ludwig towards a nearby cafe. Based on Peng's occupation, he had already formulated a plan to make contact. If they had money they could buy a house, then go to the design company where Peng worked for a consultation, and use hypnosis or instigation to designate Peng as their designer. Then could discuss design ideas, concept, and styles with him, signing a contract allowing them to repeatedly contact the target through follow-up activities, becoming more familiar and figuring out any issues. But they didn't have that kind of money. If they really had money to buy a house, wouldn't it be simpler and more convenient to just rent Eridas and ask for the detailed information about Peng? Couldn't they just be like... Couldn't they just ask, like, hey... If I just wanted to ask him one quick question, right here, right now, would you let me do it for like 100,000, 50,000? I don't know. Just one quick question right here in the store. I won't even take it out. Come on. I'll get you a. I don't know. I'll get you a chocolate from down the street. Call it Even Steven. I'm not even renting it. I'm testing it out. That's allowed. So Anthony only planned to execute the first half of the plan, fabricating the fact that he owned a house, using home renovation as an excuse for consultation, then use hypnosis to get the company to assign Peng to talk to him, and finally leaving with the excuse of needing to think it over. If Anthony's operation failed, encountering a situation where Peng was unavailable or happened to be meeting a client, then Jenna would execute the second plan. After entering the cafe with Ludwig, choosing a window seat and ordering a cappuccino, a fruit juice and a small cake and a bunch of bread, Jenna looked at the little boy and fell into deep thought. Every time we need to carry out a mission, we have to switch who takes him along. It's so troublesome. He can be useful, but a child's appearance, mentality, and cognition, he can't act independently. Should we find a way to get him to a school so he can attend classes? That way we don't have to worry about him during the day? In Jenna's silence, Ludwig had a bad premonition. And at that moment a small cake was brought over and he immediately smiled. Jenna thought for a while but then gave up on the idea. This wasn't like going to cram school, which only took an hour and a half. He'd have to stay there all day, and unless they gave Ludwig the traveler bag, there was no way for him to carry enough food. And what would happen then? A classmate every 2 periods? Dude, imagine you're just like, listen, asked to go to the bathroom, whoever's in the bathroom with you, eat them. If there's 2 people, you get a big lunch. Meanwhile, Anthony saw Peng enter the building. After 9 o'clock, confirming that Peng hadn't left, he got out of the car, entered the building and took the elevator at the design company and arrived at the design company. Anthony said to the receptionist, "I called earlier to inquire and make an appointment." The receptionist checked the record and led Anthony to the meeting room. Soon after, the person in charge of the design company came over and chatted with Anthony. During this process, Anthony deliberately mentioned Peng, saying he had seen this designer's work and results and felt they matched his ideas. Undoubtedly, while saying this, Anthony looked into the eyes of the person in charge using slight hypnosis. "Please wait here, I'll go get the designer." The person stood up and left. After about 10 minutes, Anthony saw Peng enter. Peng had black hair and brown eyes and ordinary appearance. His hair styled with some parts fluffed up, wearing a black t-shirt and a trendy brand feel, carrying a laptop. Seer, how's it going, man? Okay, I'll say it. This sounds like Adam. Think about it. Adam, a spectator, a visionary, is like, I don't want to be like unique. Black hair, brown eyes, ordinary appearance? Have we read anyone in this entire fucking book who has had black hair, brown eyes, which is, I don't know, there's what, 1.4 billion people in China, so what do we say that's, carry the, 1.4 billion people? Ordinary appearance? Have we read this about anyone? It's Adam, I'll bet you, dude. Anthony stood up, not showing any unusual behavior. After the company manager's introduction, Anthony began chatting with Peng, mainly describing his needs, while Peng listened and occasionally asked for more in-depth questions. After Anthony finished speaking, Peng operated a laptop and projector and said, I found a few images earlier. See if they match the kind of feeling you're looking for. Soon, Anthony saw a modern-style living room, bright and clean, golden sunlight shining through the windows. Anthony felt this was exactly what he wanted. Imagine, Adam is using hypnosis on a hypnotist and he's like, let me show you how this shit's real done, pussy. Peng continued to show several more images with styles similar to the previous one, each seeming perfect. He grasped the vision I had in mind just based on the description. This is quite special. Visionary. He can envision it. Hold on, let me cook. So here, we're in the Dreamscape, man. They're trying to wake COI up. Anthony didn't express his thoughts, but continued discussing with Peng how these images can be combined into a whole and the costs. After chatting for a while, Anthony stood up and said, I'll think about it. Alright, Peng didn't try hard to persuade him. Anthony went downstairs, crossed the street, and passed by the cafe where Jenna and Ludwig were. When the two parties' gazes met, Anthony nodded slightly. Jenna withdrew her gaze and watched Ludwig eat. According to the prior agreement, she easily understood without needing to guess what Anthony's nod meant. I've met Peng and made the contact. I need to self-isolate until dawn tomorrow. Tech building, admin department. After being busy for a while, Lucian started to slack off. She picked up her phone and sent a message to the hidden blade. Do you need to go hint at Joe about his specialness? Not for now. We'll wait until my companion and I can no longer act, then you do it. Lucian was about to say something when the deputy director came out of his office and said, Mr. Huang will be coming over shortly, bringing over that VIP to continue touring the company. Brother, I just told you, what? Franca worried that if Lucian hinted too deeply, she may encounter an anomaly. While she and her companions may be kicked out of the dream, she might just die. She preferred Lucian to act only as her assistant for now. Lucian was about to say something when the deputy director... Nope, already read this. A rustling sound arose from many employees as took out their makeup bags and mirrors. Zarathustra? Franca asked. Lucian? Should be. He's the only VIP recently involving the integration and merger, as well as a big deal. What do we do? Didn't Lumion report Zarathustra yesterday? The police station has no evidence and can't restrict his movements for now. He just went to see Joe at the cram school yesterday and now he's coming here? What does he want? Lumion was right. I meant, what are they doing? Oh, they're trying to slowly get into contact with Klein or Joe. Slowly seeing like, okay, what triggers, like, you know, being kicked out of the dream. Like, only one person's gotten kicked out so far, Franca once. Obviously, they're also trying to figure out what the fuck is happening with Zarathustra. After nearly a minute, she replied to Lucian. Stay calm, let me see the specific situation before deciding. Cooperate. Don't worry, with so many people, Zarathustra can't really do anything. If worst comes to worst, I'll lose my job and pour a glass of water on Zarathustra or Mr. Huang's crotch. Soon after, the group chat reported, Mr. Huang has brought the VIP to the 16th floor. Aaron! How's it going, man? Huang Tao, dressed casually, sat down in the with a formally dressed Zarathustra and opened a bottle of Ormir red wine. You said you brought a peculiar mirror? Huang asked. Yes, it possesses a kind of magic. It can let us see our inner selves. As he spoke, the man's eyes moved and he took out a small mirror with a classical design, luxurious style, inlaid with gems. At this time, his and Huang's appearance had all been left outside the current room, with only a few security personnel guarding the door. Look, this is how I appear in the mirror. Huang leaned in and saw the reflection in the mirror was not the elderly Zarathustra, but a man in his 30s, deep black hair and ordinary features. Would you like to try? Sure, Huang said as he took the mirror with interest. Check quietly checking if the item was made, if the item had any hidden switches and what materials it was made out of. Did you leave? Have a good night. No, have a good night, Chris. Appreciate you popping by, buddy. He then saw himself. It was completely different from what he had imagined. The him in the mirror was a woman wearing an ornate gold crown, slightly curly chestnut hair, blue eyes, a high nose bridge, thin lips. Huang was stunned. LEMMiNO, who started his middle shift today, needed only to arrive at the company before 4:30. Since late last night, he had been using the mirror to sneak into a hospital called Crimson Moon, where Lee Keiji was being held. LEMMiNO hid behind a mirror-like object on the wall, gazing at Lee Keiji's room. He had maintained this position for many hours. He'd been waiting all night, but hadn't seen Zaratul or their subordinates come to eliminate him. After an unknown amount of time, a sunlight shone in from the end of the corridor. Different rooms gradually becoming lively. Someone was singing, someone banging on doors. At this moment, LEMMiNO saw a large amount of milky white liquid surge in from the gaps of Lee's hospital room. Milk? Mother's milk? And a second later, he found the milky white liquid, which seemed to be milk, receding like a black tide. How's the volume? Okay, so I'm super excited that we might get to see Klein wake up, so like that's keeping me going for sure. But it's definitely starting to get a little long. Like, hey, cuttlefish, let's get something here. I get suspense. Listen, suspense. I'm all here for it. You've been blue-balling me for 900 chapters, though. Let's chop, motherfucker. Give me something, you know? Oh, Zaratul's right here. He's so important. I do not care. Okay, a little. Give me something. Okay, give the dog a bone here. Come on. LEMMiNO watched silently. A few minutes later, with his eagle-like vision, he seen that there was something indiscernible at the doorway. He pressed his face against the surface mirror. The scene before him lost its mirrored feeling, becoming clear. He then saw small, distinct white lines, and noticed finer, less obvious white filament. These things, while as a whole, looked like intersecting, much thinner snowflakes. Compared to the spider silk of a demoness, they were all opaque, tinted with color. Mycelium? This was made on a guess on Lee Keiji's own nature. After a few minutes, these mycelium uniformly retracted, passing through the door gap and disappearing. A scene emerged in LEMMiNO's mind. A strangely shaped mushroom man. No, a giant mushroom walking to the door, extending its mycelium. LEMMiNO fell silent again. He pondered the question. Is Zarathustra and the other subordinates? Is letting Zarathustra and the other subordinates of the Celestial Worthy eliminate Lee Keiji such a bad thing? As long as they are preventing from taking Lee Keiji's corpse to the basement of the hospital and using the mother's power to give him new life. Doesn't seem that bad, right? Frank Lee's mushrooms in the Dream City seem to have overlapped with Mr. Fool's idealistic cognition, becoming more and more terrifying and bizarre than reality. No, fire is also dangerous, but fire can be exploited. This guy is suitable to be confined in a psychiatric ward to be released when needed, or to borrow a few mushrooms with unique functions. Can a psychiatric ward really contain him? Should he have helped to enter the prison to be controlled by the officials representing the dream's consciousness? But if so, it would be quite troublesome for us to utilize him, and moreover, it doesn't look like someone without mental problems in any way. Frank had explained this in the Dream City. Such mentally ill patients don't need to go to prison. They just need prolonged treatment in a hospital. At 10 a.m., LEMMiNO saw Huang Jiaji, Bernie Huang, accompanied by a lawyer, Officer Deng, and a doctor, enter the ward. Only then did he relax. He traversed the rear view mirror of a car in the underground lot, jumped out, and teleported back to his apartment. At this time, Anthony was in self-isolation, and Ludwig had been taken away by Jenna. LEMMiNO casually ate some bread before preparing to catch some sleep. Just as he lay down, he felt his phone vibrate. A message from Franco. Zarathustra has come to visit again. now on the 16th floor. He wasn't affected by the tip-off letter? Do they need evidence, or they just investigate for a while? Zarathustra is cautious, and the identity of a foreign guest is clear. LEMMiNO replied, no need to interfere with his visit, but remind Zhou to be careful through Lushan. Inside the admin apartment, Franca sent a letter to Lushan. If that guy comes to visit our department, warn Zhou to be careful. No need to rush. What if the enemy chooses to visit other departments or other subsidiaries? Warning Zhou in advance would plunge him to endless suspicion, guarding against everyone around him. Lushan nodded. To their surprise, Mr. Huang didn't bring Zarathustra down for a tour. The two stayed on the 16th floor until noon, before leaving via the private elevator. Alert lifted. The enemy didn't contact the target, so Lushan didn't give any reminders. Franco reported the situation to LEMMiNO after break. And LEMMiNO quickly replied, then I'll carry out the steps of hinting Zhou about the existence of supernatural powers this afternoon and be a bit more aggressive. You three from now on do not contact me. Delete our history and add them back tomorrow afternoon. Don't this get mixed up with the results of Anthony's probe? If he gets kicked out, we may have trouble distinguishing if it's Peng's problem or you. It won't. We isolated from each other last night. Our effects won't affect each other. At 4 p.m., LEMMiNO arrived at the office. He and old Jia took over from their colleagues and started patrolling the floors. After completing this task, he replaced colleagues who were rushing to the cafeteria and started monitoring. LEMMiNO seemed to be observing the situation on different floors, but his attention was entirely on the 10th floor. He finally saw Zhou leave his workstation, walk out of the tech department, and head to the restroom. LEMMiNO stood up and said, the food was real spicy. I need to get to the restroom. Without waiting for a response, he left. Old Jia turned to look at his back and said, he's only been working for a week and already learned to take a shit break? Jesus. In the corridor, LEMMiNO avoided two security personnel, turned into a stairwell, and quickly went down. In less than 30 seconds, he reached the 10th floor. Pretending to be checking a problem he had discovered during an earlier patrol, he entered the corridor between the admin and tech departments, arriving outside the restroom, looked left and right, then walked in the men's side. At this time, Zhou was washing his hands. LEMMiNO glanced inside the restroom, confirming no one else was present. Zhou turned around and just saw him. LEMMiNO took out a lighter and smiled. His thumb repeatedly pressed virtually above the lighter, not touching it, yet the lighter produced a series of flames. Seeing this, Zhou became tense. The power or some kind of magic trick? LEMMiNO stepped back twice, pressing his hand against the edge of the restroom door frame, activating a bottle of fiction. He isolated the area and said, I've drunk a beverage called Hunter. You really do have issues, Zhou's eyes narrowed. I came to warn you, be careful of Zarathustra. Zarathustra. Zhou had a deep impression of this man. He had once been assigned as a technical person to receive him and was responsible for being the interpreter and explainer, but the other party either had a mechanical failure with their flight or encountered severe weather, so he never managed to receive him. Later, he got sick and took leave, missing Zarathustra's first visit, but after that, he had seen the group's publicity and knew what he looked like. Reminded by LEMMiNO, Zhou suddenly remembered that the old man standing at the door of the business class before Lushan came to warn him was Zarathustra. Was Lushan's warning pointing to him? How did she know he'd be visiting? Right, Li Ming was there. Are they in cahoots? Lu Fu only joined one day after Li Ming. As these thoughts raced, LEMMiNO offered no explanation, lifted the bottle of fiction and left. Zhou looked at his back, suddenly feeling the hidden currents around him were much more fierce than he had originally thought. After another night of floor patrol, LEMMiNO stood at the office window, watching as the last golden-red glow of the sunset was swallowed. Night had arrived. By this time, Lushan, Lu Fu, and Zhou Mingrui had all gotten off work, with the latter having just left a couple minutes ago. LEMMiNO looked at the brightly lit buildings, raised his chin and smiled, waiting for a possible exile. This time, if he was kicked out, Zarathustra probably would be too. A one-for-one exchange he felt was quite fair. Oh shit, dude, the goat? He just said, listen, if I'm gonna get kicked out, I'm taking a fucking archangel with me, motherfucker. Well, I guess just an angel now, but at once an archangel. Damn near half fool. He's like, I've been punching above my weight class this whole time. Why change up now, you know? Volume 6 started to drag. I think it's about another 100 chapters or so. Is that about right? Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. But like, hey, listen, really, that's like 2 weeks. That's not that bad. Time passed minute by minute. Lumen saw office workers continuing to leave the building, while carts appeared in less conspicuous places along the road. Cars drove by with their lights on, still busy. Nothing happened yet. Lumen had lost sight of Zhou, but didn't feel anything unusual, and at this moment, old Gia walked in. Let's go patrol again. Okay, Lumen said. Then he saw old Gia turn his body somewhat awkwardly. What's wrong? You hurt your back? Lumen said. Old Gia turned his head. I'm not... What? As he spoke, his lips paused and his accent changed. Before Lumen could respond, old Gia looked away and continued walking. His arms, knees, ankles, and shoulders seemed filled with lead. Lumen recalled the puppet show he had seen in the basement of the Alone Bar. Well, Gia looks more like a puppet. Has he been marionetized? My thoughts are lagging. Am I being marionetized? Lumen was startled. He lowered his head and tried to raise his palm. In his view, his arm lifted, paused, lifted again, and paused again, as if watching a video, buffering. Indeed, Lumen's first reaction was the celestial worthy was marionetizing him, but he didn't feel the discomfort of having a fish leaving water, or a person leaving the air that Frank had described. He thought of another possibility. Zarathustra or someone else hidden in the shadows was dealing with him. Lumen arced his back, turned his gaze to the window, finding the vehicles on the road all paused, but without the forward surge that would occur with sudden braking. After a brief pause, these vehicles stopped again. 2 seconds later, they stopped again, making Lumen feel as if he was watching surveillance footage, frame by frame. Not only the vehicles, but the vendors selling noodles. Everything. A large-scale marionetizing can only be done by the celestial worthy or the fool. Lumen tried hard to concentrate, trying to exit the dream, though he wasn't sure why his experience was different from Frank, as the current situation and the changes around him made him feel as he could only escape or fight. The only solution was to actively exit the dream before becoming a marionette. Of course, Lumen didn't put this into practice immediately, because he still didn't need to use the information shredder to delete the important contacts from his phone. This had been done. He still had some time to experience the current change and see if he could observe any information. After about 10 seconds, Lumen's thoughts became smooth again. It's over. Lumen looked around. Why aren't you moving? What's on your mind? Old Gia said. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. With that, he ran off. Old Gia looked at him and cursed. Lazy cattle and horses shit and pissed the most. Lumen entered a stall, locked the room, and used Spirit World Traversal, teleporting to another public restroom. Seeing no one else in the stalls, Lumen floated down and locked the door. The hotel where Zarathustra was staying. Before going to wait outside Lee Keiji's ward, Lumen had come here to scout, though he had temporarily shelved the plan to attack and assassinate Zarathustra. When the time came, he would still make more preparations, in case Zarathustra chose to finish off Lee Keiji indirectly. Lumen took out a mirror and placed it at the top of the water tank, then pressed his hand on it. His figure leaned forward, becoming ethereal. Using the mirror world, he traversed the glass window. Under the night sky, this was undoubtedly a real mirror. He was unsure if Zarathustra had returned to the hotel yet. Maybe he was still out socializing. He also didn't dare to use divination to find the other party's location. The next second he saw a figure. A black formal suit, slightly messy curly white hair. Zarathustra. Zarathustra was hanging by Mr. Fool, like he had hanged the Oracle. Was my hint to Zhou so effective? I originally thought about getting Zarathustra kicked out of the dream, and I was prepared to pay the price. Duke that defeated the falsehood? Have I seen you here before? How's it going, man? I apologize if I've seen you here before. What chapter am I? Harsh, I'm thinking like 970-ish, but maybe a little further. As Lumin's thoughts raced, he saw twisted, writhing maggots falling from Zarathustra's body. These worms faded and disappeared as soon as they fell. Lumin then walked out of the void, or saw a figure walk out of the void. Zarathustra. A living Zarathustra. He raised his head and looked at him. Oh. You know, Mitch. Dr. Z? The hanging figures faded and became transparent like the maggots that had fallen. Oh yeah, I guess I guess Dr. Z doesn't say yo. Bullseye? I know Bullseye has a bunch of other accounts, so it could be him. I don't know why I'm thinking this is probably. Are we back? I think we're back. Let's go. Let's go. How's it going, guys? Sorry, I'm back. Oh, it is Bullseye? Okay. Okay. Fuck, what chapter were we on? I just... Fucking literally everything just shut off for me all at once. Fuck this, man. Okay. Was the one hanging just now his void image? Did Zarathustra sense the danger in advance and summon a historical image to replace himself? Otherwise, at sequence 7, a historical image couldn't last long. The information provided by the major arcana holders about the abilities of the seer pathway up to sequence 3 were quite detailed. For sequence 2, it only briefly explained what wishes and miracles were. Beyond that, they hardly mentioned anything at all. Standing in the void behind the mirror, Lumin combined his own experience with Zarathustra's encounters to make some guesses. On my side, pedestrians and cars within the range were all affected by marionetization, but not myself, indicating my hint to Zhou did indeed attract the celestial worthy's attention, but because the hint was given during the day, he couldn't lock onto me. During the collective marionetization, if I had resisted or used beyond our powers, I would be locked down. If I had chosen to exit, his goal would be achieved. My reminder to Zhou was also perceived by Mr. Fool, and the name Zarathustra grasped by him, so he encountered rapid marionetization. Fuck, I hate this word. This is not a real word, I hate this. But this was born by the image from the historical void. Why is he so calm? Is this what a faceless is? Or is he certain that before new changes occur, Mr. Fool's gaze will only come once? Tomorrow, we'll get Lucian to probe Zhou to see if he remembers the threat of Zarathustra. If he does, and he doesn't encounter any more marionetization or end up getting kicked out of the dream, then it should be that the Celestial Worthy provided help. Can we also use similar methods to avoid being kicked out? Or are verbal threats from others and face-to-face simulations different? Thinking of this, LEMMiNO looked up at the mirror again. Seeing Zarathustra walk to the mirrors as if nothing had happened, walking in the doors as if nothing had happened. He had only begun thinking of whether to take the opportunity to assassinate Zarathustra when the historical void was hanging. His curse still had the characteristic of not being transferable by paper figurine, as long as it affected the real body. After glancing at those mirrors and weighing the possibilities, LEMMiNO silently left the glass window. He had just left for 2 seconds, and when Zarathustra and his followers in the room either half entered their bodies or turned their heads, all looking at the glass window at the edge of the room. In a cheap motel, Anthony, who was self-isolating after contacting Peng, sat at the edge of the bed, waiting for an anomaly. Anthony hadn't drawn the curtains, and he still needed to observe the situation. This was to compare. He knew LEMMiNO was there? Oh, I thought he sensed that someone had left as he left after, and he was like, oh, I missed him. To compare with his own condition. After sitting for a while, he stood up and walked to the window, admiring the city. At this moment, he felt a strong dizziness. He realized that the air around him had drained. No, a more accurate description was that he was being thrown out of this world. What Franca described, contacting Peng also leads to getting kicked out. I contacted him during the day and didn't hint at powers. Contacting Zhou wouldn't cause this issue. Is Peng more special than Zhou? You're not that clever. You're not that clever, Adam. Okay, I see through you. You see through the universe, I see through you. So who's better, bitch? I can see it. I can see the line. I can see the line, Adam. When he felt he could no longer resist the tendency to become a marionette, he used the force trying to pull him out to exit the dream. He opened his eyes and saw the dark ceiling and the crimson moon. Anthony had heard from Franca about the situation in reality. After confirming the situation of the things he was carrying, he got out of bed and walked to the bathroom. After a while, Anthony heard a knocking. Without needing to ask, he knew that Madame Magician and Madame Susie were outside. As he opened the door, as expected, he saw them. Why did you leave the dream? Madame Magician asked, or Madame Justice asked. I was kicked out, Anthony replied. Though I can no longer influence the dream, I have been monitoring the dream. I didn't notice any signs of you being rejected. But Anthony didn't question her statement and encountered in full detail how he had contacted Peng and how he self-isolated and what he experienced. I love how Kami just said, bro, he made this shit so full, it's crazy. And then I was going, I'm going to get some ice cream. And Madame Justice didn't interrupt Anthony's words, listening patiently and attentively. She then nodded and said, I believe what you felt was fear. Your fear turned the description from the Two of Cups to reality, making you mistakenly believe you were being kicked out, so you chose to leave. As a psychiatrist, I know very well that this level of fear without warning is not normal. An anomaly brought about by your contact during Peng. Fear. The contact with him triggered my fear of being kicked out and let it reach this level? He muttered, is this the manifestation of being watched by the celestial worthy and a symbol of one of his abilities? Or is Peng's uniqueness not directly related to him and has another source? We are not sure, because Peng's role and position in the dream are way too special. We put him in the last few steps when it comes to confirming the situation. Unfortunately, we couldn't influence the dream anymore before we got to that point. This time can be considered our first real contact with him. Perhaps the fact that we're putting Peng at the end to probe itself has some problems. Maybe there are too many reasons. Though we don't know if Celestial Worthy can unconsciously trigger the fear in your heart and let it burst out, we know very little about the authority and the corresponding existence of Sequence 0 of the Seer pathway. We need to design a more detailed experiment, specifically for Deng in the future. What we can be sure of is that there are differences between him and Joe. The anomalies that appear due to contact with them are different. Your contact with Peng this time has been very informative for me, Madame Justice smiled. Don't rush back to the dream. Stay outside for at least 3 hours. Walk around. Get something to eat. This doesn't mean there will be a problem if you go back now. You weren't kicked out. We don't have that concern. A simple adjustment. Wait, so does Anthony still have 3 lives left then? Or like, does leaving once take one of those out? How does that work? And this is just a simple adjustment to your psychological state. After staying in the dream for so long, it is easy to confuse reality and dreams. Since you've left, it's best to re-experience reality and deepen the cognition. Yes, Madam Justice. After returning to the tech building, Lumin continued the task of patrolling the floors with old Gio. He directly teleported to the vicinity of the Crimson Moon at 12:30 when he got off work and used the mirror world to reach outside Lee Keiji's ward. Of course, he didn't stay in the same position all the time, nor did he remain at the hospital. He picked out 3 different time periods he had thought most suitable for assassination, only ambushing during these periods and being normal the rest of the time. During these periods, he would randomly choose one of 6 hiding spots, with no 2 consecutive times being the same. The act of entering, leaving gets you noticed? Okay. This was to guard against Zarathustra and the Celestial Worthy's other subordinates thinking that someone may be using Lee Keiji as bait. At daybreak, Lumin went out to buy breakfast. On the way, he turned to a quiet alley and met Jenna, arranged by both parties. Jenna handed over Ludwig. She had an interview with the Hulk company today and couldn't watch over the child. And Lumin said, at present, it seems that contacting Zhou during the day and hinting at the existence of powers also carries risk, but won't receive precise attacks. But after being reminded by Zhou and knowing the corresponding danger, one will encounter rapid marionetization at night, which can possibly be avoided. We can't determine if it's an isolated attack. We'll observe Zarathustra again tonight. Get Lushan to find Zhou and remind him of the Zarathustra issue again. See if he has forgotten. Don't worry, after I directly mentioned him yesterday, Zhou should have guessed that I'm on the same side as Franca and Lushan. He doesn't know about you or Anthony for now. After exchanging glances, Lumin gestured for Jenna to not add him and accepted the request himself. After Anne Royd talked about last night's situation and Miss Justice's guess, he confirmed the other party had sent a message over with a smile. Let's talk in detail when we get back to the rental house. I've made some discoveries on my end too. It seems Peng Deng is even more special than we imagined, Lumin thought. Jenna listened and added Anthony back, waving goodbye to Lumin and the child. In the admin department, when Frank and Lushan went to the bathroom together, taking advantage of this moment, she told the other the request relayed. How should I hint? Lushan asked. After about half an hour, Zhou, wearing a grey shirt, came to the admin department asking Lushan if there was anything going on in the company. Great question, Lushan praised. The merger negotiations between the group and the large company have entered the formal process. The boss of that company has visited twice. When seeing the name Zarathustra, Lushan looked at Zhou. Zhou said in realization, previously Mr. Huang even grabbed me to pick him up, but I didn't get to. When he came to visit the company, you weren't here. It seemed like you were on sick leave. Yesterday he came again, but you stayed on the 16th floor and didn't visit other departments, so you didn't meet him. A script Frank had prepared. Maybe there's some force in the universe preventing me from meeting him, Zhou said. After chatting a few more sentences, Zhou left. As he passed by Franca's desk, Franca spoke, "Watch out!" Zhou turned sideways, looking at Franca. Franca pointed at the wet marks on the ground and said, "I spilled some water over there. Be careful." "Oh, you scared me," Zhou said. He walked around the wet area and left the admin apartment. Lu Fo told me to be careful. Lu Shan mentioned Zarathustra. Are they telling me to be careful of Zarathustra? They are indeed on the same side as Li Ming. In the admin department, Lu Shan sent a message. He has some vigilance towards that enemy. He hasn't forgotten your warning. Hall family, talent department. Jenna hadn't applied extravagant makeup, nor had she deliberately made herself look ugly. She simply maintained her natural coloring as a local with black hair and brown eyes and softer facial features. Next, Jian Na, the employee, called out. Jenna stood up. Jian Na, Jenna, cute. Recalling the education she had received, she walked in. The interviewer's eyes all lit up. She graduated from the performance department of the National Drama Academy. the identity that Madame Justice had crafted for her. As far as Jenna knew, Madame Justice's corresponding image in the dream was Holly, the executive of the Hall Company family. In other words, the boss of the interviewers present. The Hall Company was just a non-core industry under the Hall Group, whose foundation was various banks. In the Dream City, its financial power was second only to the Intus Group. Yes, Jenna didn't hide her pleasant voice. As they asked various questions, the initial interviewer drew out a card and handed it to Jenna. Please perform a segment according to the requirements on this. From Jenna's clear and beautiful appearance and clean aura, this interviewer chose a performance themed around coquettishness to test her. Good lord, that is a rough word to pronounce. Jenna took out the card before she could read the topic and heard the interviewer add, "You can't put on makeup or change clothes on the spot. You need to present the content of the topic with your own performance." As an apprentice at the Theatre de l'Ancien Cage à Pigeon, she had dreamt of such performance opportunities. She lowered her head and couldn't help but smile. She had life experience in being coquettish. She lowered her head to look at the topic and couldn't help but smile. When she raised her eyes were passionate and bold. She was back on stage. As her gaze swept over them, everyone felt their hearts tremble. I haven't even used charm yet. Jenna felt rather proud. Phew, an interviewer involuntarily let out a breath as she finished her performance. "Do you have a boyfriend?" she asked. "Yes," Jenna answered, not mentioning she also had a child. It wasn't mentioned in her resume either. After all, Ludwig's household registration was with Lumion, and she and Lumion weren't married. The interviewers couldn't help but exchange glances. With what great talent, possibly the kind that could outshine the others. Why would she already have a boyfriend? Wake up, you're too young to be in love. Never mind, when she enters the industry and sees what real luxury is, she'll break up with that loser. Hold on. The initial female interviewer withdrew her gaze. "We'll get back to you with an answer. Try not to leave the city for the next couple of days." "Alright," Jenna said. The young woman escorting Jenna out of the department saw this interview was not only beautiful, but also had a unique kind of beauty. Jenna was also interested in becoming friends with this lady who wanted to build a relationship with her as well. Because Lumion had told her to pay attention to the actor playing Gehrman Sparrow and see if there was anything special about him. The two chatted happily as they walked. At this moment, many people came in from the outside. Having already encountered the talent department, this person took off the sunglasses, revealing a face that Jenna found familiar. 30% similar to Joe, with a smaller head, more delicate features, and more pronounced contours. The actor playing Gehrman. If he looked 60-70% similar to Gehrman he played, or very close to Joe, relying on makeup to become Gehrman, then Jenna would have thought he might be somewhat special, but now, it wasn't. No wonder Franca said there was no need to observe the actor playing him. However, Franca's reason was really strange, saying that Jian Yu means fake jade, representing this person as a fake. No need to delve deeper. These people instinctively turned their head to look at Jenna's back. "Was that Jian Yu?" Jenna asked. "Yes. The movie made him famous overnight. Does he have an English name? He looks like a foreigner." "No, he just has a foreign ancestry," the female employee asked. The female employee said. Jenna felt rather disappointed. Actually, it wasn't initially chosen to book to play Gehrman. We had booked another actor who was much more famous. We just couldn't agree on a price. We just couldn't get him though. Couldn't agree on a price, Jenna asked. "Car accident. Became a vegetable." Jenna first was shocked, then several phrases flashed through her mind. What a pity. What was his name? "I can't remember it. It's just on the tip of my tongue." It's okay. I'll look it up when I get back," Jenna said. In the Jinghong district, Lumin received a message from Jenna informing him about the matters related to the actor playing Gehrman. There was indeed news about a star becoming a vegetable due to a car accident, but whether it was the news itself or the comments below, they were all vague about the name and specifics. Even the almighty internet doesn't know who he is. He suddenly thought if someone picked up the phone, finding a name that leaves a deep impression on you. "Have you heard the news? Do you know what it is?" Anderson replied, "See, if I turned myself in, who would give you such important intel?" "Then I would help you break out of prison," Lumin responded. After 20 or 30 seconds, Anderson replied, "But I don't want to break out of prison. You don't need to help me." The star who had an accident was called Anne Giotian. Okay. As Franca would say, everyone in their names beginning with Anne might be of one family 500 years ago. And then he thought for a second and said, Antigonus? True! I didn't get that, but that's very good. I didn't get that, but that's very, very good. It's quite fitting with the dream logic of Mr. Fool's manifestation. By having a car accident isn't normal. What does this symbolize? Symbolizing the imprint left by the Antigonus and the Fool uniqueness is in a vegetative state? A more suspicious point of this matter is that Madame Justice didn't mention it. With a Chinese accent, no. Oh, no. Wait, hold on. No, I still don't get it, even with a Chinese accent. I'm at a very Chinese point in my life, so I can do a good Chinese accent, but still, no. If he is Antigonus, then we should be instructed to dig deeper into this. If not, why not simply explain a few sentences to prevent us from wasting our time? Maybe she forgot, Anthony said. I'll find time to go to the Crimson Moon Hospital and visit him. Alright, let's do 2 more chapters and call it. Let's get to 9. Aw, man, do we end at 69? Fuck, man, I love this song. Never feel you going into the coming of a dawn. You always got my back, and of course I got your back. Don't you worry about that. Hey, day, good night. It's gonna be a good day, good night. With Ludwig tagging along, Anthony received a reply from the major arcana holders and the shop owner. In reality, Roseanne is under strict protection of the Church of the Evernight. As long as she is asleep, there will be Beyonders monitoring her. The Church of the Evernight are experts on this. On the future, Frank hasn't shown any abnormalities, the same as before. Regarding Lee KG in the dream, our bottom line is that we cannot let him be corrupted, nor can we let him become a puppet of the Celestial Worthy. If necessary, you can actively eliminate him and destroy the body. In any case, we can't let him be corrupted. Lumin's thoughts were the same. Anthony hadn't personally witnessed Lee KG's mushrooms. He continued reading. We can only confirm that Anderson Hood is currently in Anderson, the capital city of Lemberg. But we can't find him. We can communicate with the Church of Knowledge later. The fact that even the major arcana holders can't find him proves that he is quite good at hiding. Perhaps he has even received protection from higher powers. If the communication with the Church of Knowledge is a way to confirm help provided to Anderson, if not, things will be even more complicated. Tech building. Lumin is already at work while patrolling the floors, pondering how to more effectively monitor Zaratostra's situation and where to go at night to observe this enemy. Reaching the 7th floor, he taking advantage of Olgia's trip to the bathroom, Lumin took out his phone, opened the online shopping platform Frank had mentioned, and typed in a few words. Pinhole camera. Feeling that Zarathustra was also suppressed, he was essentially still an angel with many powers. Relying solely on the mirror world to spy on him was unrealistic. So Lumin planned to try scientific methods to track pinhole cameras and bugs. After completing the input, Lumin didn't press the search button. When he remembered Frank saying this was illegal. Let's not even mention whether regular platformers sell these, but as a half-child of God, should I personally get involved in this industry? I'm a law-abiding citizen. Lumin entered the conversational window with Grim. Prepare some pinhole cameras and bugs for me, preferably with user manuals. Also, give me Zaratostra's itinerary for 2 days. Alright, Grim replied. Oh, dude, Grim the goat. By the time Lumin finished patrolling the floors and returning to the office, opening the door that belonged to him, he saw 2 sets of pinhole cameras and bugs. Lumin pulled out a paper, placed on top of them, and memorized Zaratostra's itinerary. As the sky approached, he found an excuse to go to the bathroom and teleported away. He first used the mirror world to hide the pinhole cameras and bugs in inconspicuous places in Zarathustra's room, erased the traces of his presence, completed anti-divination using mirror substitution, then returned to the tech building. Tonight, Mr. Huang would host a business dinner to entertain Zarathustra and his entourage. LEMMiNO is grateful that Mr. Huang's fondness of mirrors and gold foil decorations allowing him to easily find the best positions to observe. The elderly man had just toasted a glass of red wine with Mr. Huang and appeared completely normal. As time ticked by, LEMMiNO watched him drink, eat, and chat. Suddenly, Mr. Huang leaned back in his chair and pondered a question, casting his gaze to where LEMMiNO was hiding. Did he sense me? No, he's just a projection, right? Not Roselle. Was that just a coincidence? Or in Mr. Fool's subconscious, is Mr. Huang hiding powers? Thinking of this, LEMMiNO remembered a piece of information Frank had once told him. Louis Gustave had been very irritable because he couldn't contact a key figure suspected to be the mirrored Roselle. There's a whiff of a conspiracy. Could it be the mirrored Roselle has entered the dream? She had previously cooperated with the subordinates of evil gods and celestial worthy. Did she enter the dream with the help of the celestial worthy's side? After all, she's not a true god, doesn't accommodate in a uniqueness, and doesn't have special items. Is she working with Zarathustra? She is essentially a mirror person, so it's only natural that she can detect someone spying behind mirrors. If she and Zarathustra control the Intus group, given the group's influence and cash flow, the balance of victory will tilt. While we focus on Zhou, Li, Keiji, and Antigonus, Zarathustra raids our vaults. Normally, given that Bernadette still seemed to be able to enter the dream, Mr. Huang should be on our side. But why did Mr. Huang look in my direction? She could have pretended not to notice me. The more LEMMiNO thought, the more he felt sweat break out. Zarathustra isn't a conspirer, but he's as good as one. Indeed, my idea wasn't wrong. We should actively attack, kill him, or trade one for one and kick him out. At this time, Huang had withdrawn his gaze. What were you looking at? Zarathustra asked. Just thinking about some stuff, Mr. Huang smiled. LEMMiNO observed for a few more minutes, confirming Zarathustra showed no anomalies. In other words, after being punished once, Mr. Fool's subconscious will consider the problem marionetized. Even if Zhou hears the corresponding name again, it won't alert the subconscious. What took you so long? Old Gia casually asked when he saw LEMMiNO walk out of the room. I don't do well with spicy food, okay? Late at night, LEMMiNO teleported to the vicinity of the Crimson Moon Hospital, flashing between the windows. After a minute, he stopped. Before him was a dark hospital with only a bit of moonlight, his intuition telling him the person in front of him was Antigonus. LEMMiNO looked down at the bed from above, seeing a person connected to machines and tubes. The person's head was immersed in darkness, only vaguely showing decent facial features, but the beard seemed to have only been trimmed short due to not being shaved for a long time. Hey there, how's it going, man? He saw the comatose patient's head shaved. With multiple suture marks on the top. The scene spontaneously formed in LEMMiNO's mind, the head forcibly split open, the brain extracted, and something unknown placed inside. A symbol? He saw the monitor on that the heartbeat became intense. LEMMiNO stepped back, ready to leave at a moment's notice. At the same time, he saw that the patient's monitoring had changed, becoming quite active. An anomaly? Caused by me? What the fuck? The patient's fingers began to move. Bro. These guys are just waking up all of Mr. Fool's enemies. Bro, we're better off without you fucks. You're just making this worse. Zarathustra? Antigonus? Oh my god. What are we supposed to do with these fucks? 970, this is it. Hey there, this is the last one. We'll get to 980 tomorrow. 990 probably Wednesday if we can. 1,000 before the weekend. Let's go. In the dark hospital room, with only a bit of moonlight, Lumion saw Antigonus, who had been in a vegetative state for over a year, moving his fingers so slightly. While Lumion was surprised, he wasn't afraid. Instead, he smiled. How could I interpret the secrets in this matter if there were no changes? Lumion leaned against the window and stared. His fingers moved again. The darkness seemed to darken. Lumion's gaze turned to the doorway. The doorway opened and a nurse walked in. Lumion didn't teleport away, but hid in the shadows. True, but that also makes him his enemy now, right? He saw the nurse with a blank expression busily moving around the bed, adjusting the equipment, sometimes changing IV bags, but her hands always empty. Through the open door, Lumion noticed the dimly lit corridor filled with more than a dozen people. Nurses, women in patient gowns, men walking back and forth. But it was late at night, and no one was making any sound, their faces devoid of expressions. Lumion thought for a moment, then walked out, the nurse busying herself by Antigonus didn't even glance at him. Marionettes? When the man moving his arms was about to bump into him, he sidestepped Lumion naturally, never looking at him. Lumion stood with his hands in his pockets, watching him. The nurse, pushing the cart, turned and walked straight to Lumion. Just as they were about to collide, she stopped and said, "B." Her voice cut off, and she walked around Lumion. Behind her was the female patient who had been walking, came up to Lumion and began to speak. Be careful of what? Lumion's spirits lifted. The patient had only said one word before walking out. Behind him was another nurse. Just as she opened her mouth, Lumion heard a buzzing sound. The dimmed lights at the end of the corridor began to flicker, alternating rapidly. Almost simultaneously, Lumion felt a sense of being rejected by his surroundings. He saw the nurse in front of him stepping back, the patient who had just walked around him retreat. In this way, the scenes around Lumion, the ones that he had witnessed and the events he had experienced, began to rewind, as if he had accidentally clicked a corresponding button on the surveillance footage. A fear erupted in Lumion's heart. He felt that if he stayed here any longer, he would encounter something terrifying, something that maybe even be locked onto by the celestial worthy. Without hesitation, he activated the black mark on his shoulder and teleported to the Star Dream Provision Store. At this time, the store was already closed, but not far away from the store was the police station, with quite a few rooms in the corresponding building lit up. Lumion examined his own feeling and found the fear had receded, and the feeling and the sense of being rejected gone. An anomaly or a gaze? What have I done? Those nurses and patients were being controlled by Antigonus in his vegetative state, trying to tell me something? What he wanted to tell me must be critical to have triggered such a dramatic change, not giving him a chance to continue. If Franco were to find Joe at night and try to tell him in detail, it would probably be just like now. Be careful for what? There were too many subjects, and Lumion couldn't even find a train of thought. He felt it necessary to contact Antigonus again. The prerequisites to find a way to bypass the restrictions are required. If the information Antigonus wanted to convey was crucial, Lumion wouldn't be stingy with the number of tries he'd be willing to get kicked out. Even if future opportunities would be consumed, he was willing to do it. It's no deal if I'm kicked out. I have teammates. I have faith in them. Late at night, in room 2303, in the Shang Garden, Franca was awakened by the vibration of her phone. She picked it up and saw it was a voice call from Lumion. Before she could even answer, Lumion had hung up and sent a message. The reason he did this was that messages and voice calls could be deleted upon information shredder, while the content of voice calls couldn't. Lumion glancing at the awakened Jenna, Franca began to read Lumion's message. Mr. Huang may be problematic. While Zarathustra has seemingly been trying to contact Zhou lately, he's actually using the mirrored Roselle to erode and influence Mr. Huang. If Mr. Huang sides with the Celestial Worthy, things will become difficult. It's more than just complicated. With people, money, and influence at their disposal, what can we even do? Should we take Zhou to a place near the police department where Mr. Huang can influence him? The more Franca thought, the more her head ached. How do we confirm whether Mr. Huang is showing anomalies? If he suddenly announced he has a gender reassignment surgery, then we'll know, I suppose. If he really is controlled and can't be saved, we can sacrifice one person to kill him and let Bernie become the CEO. Good idea, Franca thought. If he is controlled, it means he's the mirrored Roselle, a Beyonder with angel-level powers, and moreover with Zarathustra's help. It'd be hard for the four of us to assassinate him together, let alone one person doing it. Besides, Bernie has two younger brothers, and it's not certain she would inherit the position anyway. Suddenly, as she spoke, Franca froze. She and Jenna exchanged glances as they blurted out, "Bernie!" The best candidate to confirm if there was anomalies was Bernie. By solely relying on Franca and Jenna, unless they forcibly infiltrated and observed, it would be a matter of luck. How do we contact Bernie and persuade her? I have an idea, Franca said. What? The one we should be looking for isn't Bernie, but Bernadette. We'll write to the major arcana holders asking them to contact her. If Bernadette still has a way to enter the dream, she'll come to handle it. We don't need to persuade her. If she can't come in, then we'll consider how to contact and instigate Bernie. This matter is quite important, Jenna thought. I think we shouldn't wait until tomorrow to write the letter. I'll leave the dream now and tell them in the villa. Alright, it's not frequent entries and exits from the dream, just an occasional one. Shouldn't be any issues. Jenna changed her posture to sit up. In her current state, she couldn't rely on the dream's rejection to actively leave, so she used cogitation to enter a state of emptying her thoughts. In a sensation of weightlessness, Jenna woke up. She opened her eyes and got out of bed and confirmed whether she had returned to reality. Tonight, the one guarding them in the living room was Madame Justice. An emergency? Madame Justice stood up. Jenna nodded and recounted Lumin's guess. We'll contact her immediately, Madame Justice stood up. She raised her hand and sketched a small bird. The bird, transparent and dreamlike, chirped a few times, circled around, and descended towards Madame Justice, entering her body and disappearing. This is a dream messenger I made. It can travel to a specific target through the collective subconscious. Since you've returned to reality, I'll tell you about Antigonus directly. At that time, I had already been kicked out of the dream once and started planning to shoot the Great Pirate 3. Not only because I wanted to present Gehrman's experience to Mr. Fool, trying to awaken his memories and make him wake up, but also because I was exploring how to realize a sentence Mr. Fool had told us once. The awakening of the world spells the Fool's return. That's so peak! Oh, let's go! Alright guys, let's call it there. Alright, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for some more COI, and then we'll keep going. Alright. Most of the stream eating, damn. Yeah, fat fuck. Nah, I'm just kidding. Thanks for the voice. Thanks for the music change, Scotty. Bye guys. Probably ate enough for tomorrow. Okay, don't do that. Just split them up. Jesus, comment. That's not good for you, man. Alright, bye guys.